Hello. Perfect. So, hi everyone. Hi Jean, Matteo.
Hello, everyone.
We have Arnaud joining right now. We are really happy to see you during this summer. It's the 1st of August, but the DAO is still pushing like hell. We are seeing so many submissions from you guys. It's wow. It's nice to see that. I think it's great. So we received some questions and we have some stuff about to talk about today. This is the ADIA Lab Market competition AMA. So we will talk about the question you are actually asking for the competition. And just to tell you that we will do another AMA probably starting the beginning of September, where we will address all your questions about CrunchDAO. In the meantime, I think we can start directly to answer your questions. I know that Matteo, I think Matteo wants to speak about cross-validation. We have also the end of the competition. I mean, the submission phase ends on the 16th of August. So we have some things to say about that. I think we can start by Jean. I think, Jean, you want to explain a bit how the competition is going. What do you have something to say, I think, as an introduction?
Yes, thank you, Ben. Well, everything is going very well. I've been seeing some of you guys going even further than what we were expecting in terms of score. So remember that the score are computed on a public test set, so you probably all know what it means, and that's why also Matteo want to talk about cross-validation, and we are all actually wondering where is currently the sweet spot in terms of performance, and who is going further and who is overfitting, who is not. That's currently the main question. I think that's the suspense. We have been making some great project on the infrastructure and how the codes are running. I don't see a lot of bugs anymore, but we will be very careful to be sure that the out of sample goes very well. I still receive some message about how the code will be executed during the out of sample, and all this question we will address all of these today.
Great. That's great. So let's start with the first question. In the meantime, I see that the chat is not working, so I will work on that. But I think we can first start. In the meantime, we can start with the first question. It's not actually a question. It's a point that we wanted to address. It's cross-validation. So maybe Matteo or Jean, who wants to talk about that?
I can take this, I guess. Cross-validation is really important in what we're doing. I guess it's going to be really exciting to see if the best players in the public leaderboard will stick. You know, it's like, I don't know, in cycling, there's the final moment, the final sprint, and there's a bit of shuffling. Here, probably we're going to see the same. Let's see how much, to what extent. It depends on how good the players have been in cross-validating, and we arrive at the topic, their models. So cross-validation is really key in this competition, and cross-validation, time-aware cross-validation in particular. So I guess the most important thing to say is that we pushed in the ADIA Lab notebook repository on GitHub 3 new notebooks, 2 of which are focusing on time-aware cross-validation. They're using existing open source libraries, respectively MLExtend and skLego. And they're both sklearn compatible, so they should be compatible to the majority of the machine learning tools you're using for your modeling. And you can take a look at how the splits are built and how you can best estimate the out-of-sample performance of your models. Because remember, it's true that the public leaderboard is based on X test that your models doesn't see from a purely machine learning perspective, but you can iterate, submit multiple times, and adapt your behavior and your modeling assumptions based on the out of sample, quote unquote, that you see. So there is some kind of look ahead bias, even if it's not in the code, in the methodology, if you use this information. Of course, you have to be careful not to have a bias, this kind of bias, which is really dangerous. And to be sure of this and implement best practices in the code, time-aware cross-validation is the best way to do this.
So just Matteo, by time-aware, what do you mean exactly? Maybe you should explain.
Yeah, thank you. So let's say in domains of machine learning in which time is not a dimension, I don't know, image classification, for example. The most common way of cross-validating methodologies, machine learning models, is a k-fold cross-validation. And basically, you have a set of data points, and in the validation scheme, you have your a ratio usually between that you take from your train set, and you split between train and validation. And if you do one split, let's say you can do 80% train and 20% validation. You train, you validate, and then you test. You predict on the test set, let's say. In the case in which you don't have enough data to sustain your assumptions just with one fold, one split, you can do a combinatorial search and define the validation set based on different folds, that's the term, and define the validation set differently multiple times, and the training set changes. The problem is that you cannot shuffle the data in a case in which time is a useful dimension, is an important dimension. You cannot use, let's say, that you have dates in the competition, and you cannot include in the train set the date 50 and validate on date 40 because this is not resembling what's happening in real life, and this has a big impact in the estimation of the out of sample performance. So I guess, yeah, be careful with this. Take a look at the notebooks. Be careful also in setting a purge and embargo as necessary. So remove a number of dates between not only the train validation set and the test set, but also between the train and validation set when you do this cross-validation or only validation. But be careful looking at not only, but starting by looking at the autocorrelation of the features and targets.
For example, if I use the basic sklearn train test splitter, this kind of splitter will randomly split, right, the train and test. And in that case, in the data set, you have the same distribution. You probably realize in kind of the same distribution in different era of time, different dates. And so if you just break and you just cut this train set randomly, then you will end up splitting some data in the middle, and that's also some kind of data awareness that can be implemented. I guess it's not easy because it's not easy to do. It's kind of sometimes kind of a custom code, but that could be something.
Yeah, and I guess this brings to the point of, let's say, there is another notebook. I mentioned there are three. And basically in the third one, we propose a methodology is by no means the best methodology, but it's an idea to push forward a way of modeling that not only considers the fact that you have different moons, different cross-sections in your problem. And so the fitness is a function not only of a single row, so a single investment vehicle in a specific cross-section, but it's actually a fitness computed on a specific cross-section, a big date. And so you have this Spearman correlation between two vectors. So it's not a mean squared error between two scalars, but it's a distance correlation between two vectors. You can go even further and take into account the fact that you have a series of cross-sections. and define a training fitness that takes as an input the set of vectors associated to a set of cross-sections that don't even have to be necessarily, how do you say, one after the other. So this is an idea. You can take a look. There are two sentences in which we propose that there are quote-unquote market features. So you can take a look, for example, at the norm of the covariance of the cross-section. And that's a feature associated to the cross-section, not to any investment vehicle in particular. And so you can experiment with this and use this as an input to your models. But I guess I'll let you have fun with these ideas.
Thank you very much, Matteo. I think it was a great answer. So we can move to the second one, which is, will the crunch price, it's a not crunch price, by the way, we'll talk about it. Will the crunch price be allocated by final model correlation or by all-time base correlation? Just before I give the mic to Jean or Matteo, it's not a crunch price. The ADIA market prediction competition is in USD, just to make sure that it's clear for everyone. Jean, Arnaud, or Matteo, who wants to take the question?
Yeah, happy to take this one because it's maybe wasn't very clear in the documentation. But what is happening is that the out of sample phase has the exact same size as the public test set. So when you are running and getting scored on the public test set, so on the leaderboard, the out of sample will be the same size. So you don't have to stress about it. Just make sure that that your code can run under this amount of time. So the last resources, I guess we have also a question on that. It's 20 hours of computation. Now, what is the score? The score is the average Spearman in out of sample, like it is on the public test set. And average by which dimension? By dimension of time. So in each era, you have Spearman rank correlation, and then these 30 Spearman rank will be averaged together.
Thanks, Jean. In the meantime, we had a question in the chat that I will read. Can we submit pre-trained model without retraining every day? Matteo, on that. You are muted.
Yeah, sorry, I was muted, but yes, yes, you can. There is a resource folder, I think that's the name, in which you can upload your model, and then all you need to do is in the set of functions that are used and are given in the quick starter, you can simply load the state of the model, so which is just a file containing the weights and biases of a neural network or the structure of a boosting tree, whatever. So it's a static model. The disadvantage, let's say, in this configuration is that you cannot retrain. One thing, I don't know, because John mentioned, I don't know if you discussed this, the mean, but take also into account for the resources that if you retrain, the more the out of sample increases inside, the more the train set increases as well. So if your online training, let's say calibration, and in the out of sample takes into account a batch of dates, which could be potentially all of them, this leads to an increase in the data you have to process, and so this could create some failures. So be mindful of this if you have a big online training.
We have also Ilya that is asking for some precision on the some details about the dimension. He asks, Jean, average by which dimension?
Yeah, I just answered. It's by time.
Okay, good.
So if that's a question, if I understood well the question, Ilya.
Okay, we have another question. My submissions run successfully, but I get warnings such as running pip as the root user can result in broken permission, Should I do something about it? To be precise, the top of my code is a copy-paste of the reveal, the command from the submit web page. So just one thing before answering, if you have a technical question like this, please, guys, feel free to ask the question in the Discord. I will put the Discord link in the chat right now. If you are not in the Discord, please join. It's important. And so we have the answer directly from Enzo. Enzo says, I'm quoting him, "These parts come from the runner, not your code. Do not worry. It's working as intended." So basically, he's forcing the root. That's why you have this message. But anyway, don't worry. This is absolutely normal. And if you have,
sorry, Ben, if you have a score on the leaderboard, on the public leaderboard right now, it means that we could create your prediction file and we could compare it with the public test set. So it means that things are going well. So don't mind the possible warning that you could have in the logs.
Please, could you clarify how the training is performed during the out of sample phase? Given that we have an option to retrain model at every new date, does it mean that you will update the training test with the new label data at every new date?
I guess I can take this because I already replied to this. I didn't know it was coming, but yes, as I said, during the out of sample phase, I guess right from the start, the public test set will be included inside the train set. And then as you are, let's say as data are labeled, so targets are realized, they appear. This combination of features and label / target become part of the training set. So yes, this is how, let's say at each retraining event, which could be every date, you will be able to load and in principle see all the data associated to the public, let's call it public train set, public test set, which is the one the leaderboard is based on, and all the out of samples dates, which will be part of the past during the evaluation of the end out of sample. Of course, if you want to do a calibration that only focuses on the last date or the last 3 dates, you can do that, of course. But you have access to all of them. So that's why I was saying be mindful that if you have a retraining functionality that's also using the batch of dates equal to all the dates you have, be careful that the resources are going to increase, that the requirement of resources is going to increase as the out of sample goes on.
And just as an addition, I got a question from a participant that was wondering if the number of entry will be the same for that reason, because then it will be multiplying, the amount of data that you will have to retrain on, and be sure that the amount of entries in the out of sample, the number of rows is the same as the public test set. So you don't have to worry about this. About the possible augmentation of the universe.
Clear. Could you share how many dates are there in the out of sample phase, Jean? So you just answered that.
Yep. We answered a little bit, 30 dates. So same as the public test set, with the same number of entry at every date.
Yeah. So here we have 2 points. Just to avoid losing due to heavy code, what is the limit of resource time during the out of sample phase? And if possible, please state your answer as an average amount of resource per date. And since your algorithm will use train and or infer per date. So I think, yeah, Jean.
So now we augmented since it's been 3 weeks now that we augmented the resources. So we started with 5 hours per participant at the beginning, and this was a function of how much you guys will be using. And we realized that since all of you are not using the full resources, we could increase this amount. So now it's 20 hours of GPUs, very good GPUs, because you have 128 gigabytes of RAM on the GPU. So it's one of the best that you could find for NVIDIA. So it's very great. Enjoy it and have fun with it. Go as deep as you wish. You have 32 gigabytes of RAM also for the CPU. And of course, this amount of resources will be available in the out of sample. We will add a small tolerance on that number. We are not divulgating this number because we don't want you to start playing with it. And so that everyone is playing with the same rules. So yeah, that's it. And if possible, I think, Matteo, this is a little bit what you were talking about before.
Yeah.
So it's about 20 hours per date, right? No, 20 hours for 30 dates, sorry. 20 hours for the 30 dates, so it's 0.66 hours per date. But as the training set gets larger every time, difficult to give you an estimation of the amount of compute per date because it's not fixed with an increasing data set. And again, here I wanted to say that if the data set is, if your model is running on the public test set and you run several tests, take a little security maybe, don't run under 20 hours, like 19 hours and 59 minutes is maybe a bad idea. Even if we have a tolerance, just make sure you have a little bit of security just in case something goes wrong.
Yeah, you just gave me an idea. Let's say a way to play it safer would be to define the training set as a set of dates whose size is equal to the public training set. So you have this moving window that's not increasing and you are playing it safe. Even at the last date of the out of sample, you are forgetting, let's say, the first 29 dates of the public train. So it would be a way to play it safe.
Okay. Thank you, Matteo. And
just
Jean.
as a precision, we have 36 dates exactly in the out of sample. So it's about 30 days, 36 dates. I think it's important because this could make a big difference.
Thanks. And we have one last question. So it's not a question actually that we see. It's just more a statement. And Arnaud, I think you wanted to say something about it. Just maybe to make sure that, so we received a question about Crunch. We are not talking yet about CrunchDAO. Again, we will do a specific AMA starting of beginning of September, and we will reply to all the questions that we receive regarding Crunch. Just for now, we are speaking about ADIA Lab. In the meantime, Arnaud, do you want to answer that statement?
Yeah, that question was part of several questions that were more related to CrunchDAO, so we leave it for the summer, as you just said. So ADIA Lab is a decent initiative. Actually, we see it as a huge achievement. And it goes directly in the direction that CrunchDAO wants to have, because not only we want to grow the community, but we also want to add the best quality in this community. We want to have the best data scientists and quants. And if you, maybe Benjamin, you will show the chart. Over the last 3 months, the community has grown very fast, and this is really impressive. And that's thanks to ADIA Lab and the reputation of people behind ADIA Lab, like Marcos Lopez de Prado, Alex Lipton, and Simon Hurst. But also, if you look at if you look at the ranking of the leaderboard, you can see that I think 9 out of the top 10 people already are new people who came because they joined thanks to ADIA Lab. So I think it's really for us an amazing achievement, and we look forward to have more financial institution joining CrunchDAO, and we'll be able to power the data set, and that's really the objective.
Thank you very much, Arnaud. Yes, and yes, we had so many new registrants. I think we had around 2,000 new registrants in the last 2 months. So I think that what we are actually doing is making a huge difference, and I think everyone needs to realize that. And I think we are one step closer to achieve our vision. And yeah, but again, we will talk about that deeply. We will deep dive into the vision and all our achievements and how we can improve, because of course we know we can improve, we can always improve. But that will be for the next Ask Me Anything session. It was the fourth or third, I don't remember, third or fourth Ask Me Anything session for the ADIA Lab market competition. It is the last. So we hope, I mean, if you have any other questions, of course, feel free to ask. There is the forum for this, there is a Discord for that, and we will answer. So please feel free. I would say one last thing before giving the mic to Arnaud. We are the first, it's the 1st of August, so everything starts now. Everything starts now. I think that the
on this point, Benjamin, I want to say that if somebody joins now or didn't submit yet and see the leaderboard and they try on their own, a little bit to see the correlation they can get, obviously the performance is very strong because we have, again, 9 or 10 people above 4%, which is a really good achievement. People who look at this and test their own models should not be afraid. You never know what the out of sample is going to be looking like. It's always a matter of how many times you've trained, and maybe some people could be overfitting. So you could have a big surprise in the out of sample, and that's really what we're looking for. So I think everybody should push their solutions, the best solutions, and not be impressed too much by the levels of the. I mean, the goal is not to be on the leaderboard, on the top of the leaderboard today, but will be to be on the top of the leaderboard after the out of sample phase.
Yes. So we have a question: how many submissions so far? So in total, I think we received something like 4,000 total submissions. That's the answer. Okay, so thank you very much, everyone. I'm sorry because we didn't even say hello to all the people that were here. I see City, Ronnie, Enzo, Xavier, Alexander, Hakim, Arnulf, Ilya. Some are new, but a lot are also quite great member. I mean, everyone is a great member, but we see people that are coming back, and it's really great to see that. Thank you very much, and have a good day and a good summer for all the people that are having a great summer.
Thank you
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Goodbye all.